Audio 1. One of the things that differentiate public art from art in the museums and gallery spaces, it's in the city. It's everywhere. You can stumble into it as you're walking around. One of my favorite places to discover public art is actually on MRT stations, hidden pockets of it. You can see a new piece every time you get off a new station. One of the other things you might notice about it is that in terms of materials, they're extremely different. They literally have to exist outside, be able to withstand the weather, the rain, so they might be made of something a bit more solid, a bit more permanent. One of the things I love about public art is also it has the ability to be site-specific, which is it's either relevant to the space it's in or can tell you something new about it. And this means that every time you look at a space and there's an artwork there, you might notice something new, different, or fun about it that you haven't seen before. On the sea, as long as you're walking in the city center, or in heritage sites like Kampung Glam, Little India, or Chinatown, look around you. You'll find a sculpture or mural or painting, or just something that's public and artwork. Yeah. This is Fernando Botelho's bird. It's literally a giant bird, and it's that right here on the edge of Singapore River. It's a very interesting bird because people react to it in quite different ways. Some people just go up to it and comment on its size, its volume, its weight, so it's incredibly heavy looking, quite majestic, that it's bigger than other birds. But it also kind of makes you wonder why is there a bird at the edge of the river, apart from, of course, being a natural sight we see every day. One of the things about this bird is that it's meant to represent peace and prosperity. This is a sculpture by artist Chong Fa Chong, who is one of Singapore's pioneering sculptors. It was made in the year 2008 and it features 5 boys, one of whom is all the way at the bottom jumping into the river. It captures a memory that Chong Fa Chong used to see along Singapore River, of kids jumping in and playing and swimming in the water, something we don't really see much anymore today. So it kind of takes us back to a different time in Singapore when the river was just bustling source of life, but in a very different way from what it's like today. One of the things I really love about this piece is that you can kind of see every detail in the children's face. The closer you get, you can kind of see how happy and joyful they are jumping into the river. It's a very dynamic piece of work. It is quite different from the more solid kind of structures that you see as you walk along the road and kind of look for public art. So there's a lot of relationship with all of the kids. It can make you sensitive of this place and the way they manage journey and jump to the river. So it's really a wonderful piece of work to spend time with. Audio 2. There will be times whenever opportunities are a door waiting to be opened, right? So you have to recognize opportunities first of all. Everything is not right opportunity. You have to recognize the potential of an opportunity. So something like, for example, I went to America and started my career there at 32. It was a time when I was told that girls can, your shelf life should be over by then. Forget starting a career from complete beginning. When I joined films at 19, I was told that just do everything quickly because shelf life usually is just about 10 to 12 years if you're lucky, and so I did like 5 films a year and I was like doing everything that I could, slowly realizing that I defined my time and I choose when I want to be. So recognizing that was very important, that I don't want to do 5 films a year, I want to do 40 films. I recognized that and I started doing when we did fashion, we did extras, when we did Buffy. I chose films to me that pushed my envelope as an actor. So I didn't let what an audience wanted to see or what the industry needed me to do to define the choice that I made. I chose what made me grow as an artist. I do think you ever change those choices? Do you think you could reinvent yourself? Is that something that all the time, reinventing is longevity. If you can evolve, you gotta be stuck in time. Actually, but that's an interesting, because if you're believing in longevity, you need to reinvent yourself constantly. You have to, and you have to constantly check yourself. Do I know enough? There's no time in your life where you know everything. No one can know everything, not even you after all your achievements. Nobody. You always have to be a student of life. I'm in this new place. What can I learn? What's the new thing that I can? What's the new skill set that I can learn? what is like working, for example, this is my first indie film that I co-produced. I've learned so much from Sid Andron. He who I've done what 6 films with, because I think you're the best in business. And the reason I called them and said I want to do this is because I wanted to learn. I've been in the business now next 20 years for me, but that does not mean that I'm not willing to learn. No, I understand that there's a certain amount that I know, and there's a lot more that I don't. So I feel like that kind of evolution is really important because when I decided to go into business and tech, I didn't know anything about it. So I learned a lot from my venture capitalist manager. So I learned from her, I listened to her, I understood what are the words, what happens when you want to raise a fund, and how does it function. I still don't know enough about it, but asking the questions is very important. It's really important to not think that people will think you're stupid. Like a lot of people get afraid to ask questions because they're like, oh, they're not learned to write on my job. But trust me, it's so even people who work for me, like my team, whenever we have new members, or still instead of making a mistake, ask me. If you don't know, just ask me. It's so much better to learn than to eventually end up making a mistake when you look stupid. Audio 3. Hi, today I'm gonna be talking to you about the 5 keys to successful negotiations. In this video, I'm going to explain to you the 5 most important things that you need to know to prepare for a negotiation, at least according to Harvard Law School. Preparing for negotiations, think through it first. What would be a good outcome? What would the best result look like? What outcomes would you not accept? Why might these outcomes not be acceptable? Assess your needs and interests, and make a list of what you have to and what you have to have and what it'll look like and what will not be acceptable. Number 2, identify your BATNA. BATNA stands for Best Alternative to a Negotiated Agreement. How could your BATNA improve? Make a list of alternatives to your negotiated ends rather than agreement. In other words, what would happen if you don't make an agreement and choose the best? Is there a possibility of a better arrangement with a supplier or a customer or a partner? Are there any constraints that make your BATNA bad? Are there any terms that you could bring to the table that can improve your BATNA? What and how? Number 3, you need to set a reservation price. Reservation price is your walkaway price. There are many variables that can determine your reservation price. The 4th item you need to look at is authority. Identify level of authority the person with whom you are negotiating has and plan accordingly. And number 5, very important, is to assess the other side's positions and interests. What do you know about the other side? What are their objectives? What are their needs? What are their problems? Also be called psychographics. What's the reservation of their walkaway price? What's their underlying interest? Investigate and examine these points carefully because they're crucial and critical for achieving a positive outcome. If you send us an email, we'll gladly send you a negotiation worksheet, which will help you track the outcomes of each step of preparing your negotiations. I hope you enjoyed this video and check out our upcoming videos about communicating skills, sales, and negotiation strategies. Leave a comment in the box below. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe, and again, thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day.